Okay, now we will start with Talcott Parsons. So, one of the most important thinker. If you get a question from Parson and if you attempt that question, it will be very good for you. You will get very good mark if you attempt questions from Parson. Okay. So, tell me what all things you know about Parson so far. What we have discussed before. What all things you know already about Parson. Integrated up.
Micro and macro sociologist.
Yeah, micro macro integration, right? Integrated approach is what we mainly focused on. So if you see, Ashok, please turn off your mic. If you see, there are different approaches were there till then, like you can see positivism. We have discussed about positivism, and then idealism, okay, and then utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is actually not important in the sociological point of view, but I'm saying this is another perspective. This, in fact, you will have to study this utilitarianism, deontological thought, consequentialism, etc. in your ethics paper from the contribution of moral thinkers. So Jeremy Bentham, Stuart Mill, etc. Okay, that's what utilitarianism approach, like maximum happiness for maximum people. So individual is a rational person. That is actually the assumption when it comes to utilitarianism. Okay, so if you see positivism, what was the assumption? We mainly discussed about positivism. What was the assumption? Here mainly we discuss about empiricism, right? Empiricism and inductivism, naturalism, universal laws. I hope any one of you don't have any doubt with respect to all those things. Empiricism, naturalism, universalism, inductivism, universal laws, etc. So this is the main theoretical principle related to positivism. And then when we discussed about the problem with positivism, or what was the rejection, what is rejected, what is excluded. What is excluded is actually the subjectivity or the internal meanings, right? The abstract phenomena, the internal meanings, motives, emotions, etc. were excluded. So positivists mainly focused on understanding the external reality and macro approach. So this is the rejection. When it comes to non-positivism or idealism, if you see, what was the assumption here? The subjective meaning, right? Subjective meaning, or the actor's interpretation of reality. Subjective meanings in terms of actor's interpretation. Okay, now what is the rejection here? What was rejected or what was excluded? The pressure exerted by collectivity, right? Or the external reality. So the pressure exerted by external reality. So this we have already discussed, positivism and idealism. So here assumption was mainly related to empiricism, universalism, naturalism, principle of universal laws, etc. But they ignored the internal aspect. When it comes to idealism or non-positivism, phenomenology, ethnomethodology, what all we have discussed so far, their focus is on subjective meaning, and they excluded the pressure exerted by collectivity or the reality or the society. Okay, now utilitarianism is not that important from sociological point of view, but here when I'm going to talk about Parson, I'll briefly mention about this. That's it. Okay, not part of your syllabus. So here in utilitarianism, it is considered as individual as a rational person. So here the assumption is individual is actually a rational person, and the actions are motivated for individuals on benefit. Okay, you will see utilitarianism, different dimensions of utilitarianism, like psychological egoism, individual egoism, personal egoism. Different concepts are there. You do certain actions for the benefit of you, and that is mainly when it comes to utilitarianism, it is all about benefits, the consequences. If the outcome is good, the action is considered ethical in the ethics context. Here you just understand this. Individual is considered as a rational person, and the actions of any individual, what you're doing now, you're doing an action, you're sitting here, you're learning the sociology, so it is basically motivated for your own benefit. Okay, when it comes to ethics, you need to be motivated for your own benefit. Nobody will do anything for you, so it is actually a kind of ethics only. Okay, if you are not motivated for you, and if you are not doing for yourself, nobody is going to do for you. Okay, and you don't want to even sacrifice also. Even sacrifice is also not ethics in some context. Some context sacrifice is also ethics. So we are not getting into that. So here rational person and actions are motivated for individuals' own benefit. Now, I've seen some people will always say motivated for individuals' own benefit. This is, selfish. Sometimes being selfish is also ethical, because if you are not doing it for you, who's there to do it for you? Okay, so there is no question of unethical here in some context, but again it depends on context. So here, then what is the rejection here? Here also the rejection is the influence of values on individual. Influence of values on individual. So basically what I've discussed is the three theoretical approaches which was seen till then, and this three will be actually integrated by Parsons. So that is what you mean by integrated approach. So this is why it is known as multidisciplinary approach. This all the assumption, this has been taken, this has been taken, this has been taken, all the rejection, this has been taken, this has been taken, this has been taken. So he integrated all assumptions and all rejections which was there till then. So according to him, if you cannot exclude anything, you cannot exclude the individual meanings, you cannot exclude the role of society also. Both are important. Okay, so that is why integrated approach, and this is the postmodern approach, multidisciplinary approach. Okay, so this is about what we are actually going to discuss in this session. So Parsons is actually American sociologist, and that we have already discussed, I think, when we discussed about the theories of stratification. Okay, so and you will see grand theories here, integrated approach, micro, macro. So micro means Weber's approach, macro means mainly Durkheim's approach. You can take it in that way because in that context from the thinkers that we have done so far. So he basically go for an integrated approach, right? So he basically integrated or combined the basic assumptions of French positivism, okay, and German idealism, and also British utilitarianism. So this combination, and this is what you call as integrated approach or the multidisciplinary approach. So he favored the exclusivism of other disciplines or other concepts. Like what was the exclusivism in positivism? Subjective reality. What was the exclusivism in idealism? The pressure of society. Okay, similarly here also. So Parsons incorporated or integrated the exclusivism which was followed by different other concepts like positivism, idealism, and also utilitarianism. Okay, so these three schools, there were some exclusions. So according to Parsons, if you need to study the reality, you have to include everything. There should not be any exclusion. So that's about his approach, and I hope this is okay for you, and I hope you understood this, and this is what you need to write in the introduction. Okay, so Parsons, now you will see many things like Parsons mainly dealt with abstractions, and he went for grand theory by using master analytical framework in the form of master analytical framework. All these things we are going to discuss in the coming theories. Okay, but understand this is his approach. Mainly for simplicity, you can take it in this way: micro and macro both have incorporated. That is his main approach. Micro means individual's importance is given, significance for individual is given. That means your own motivation is very important. At the same time, society. Okay, so society is also given significance. Individual as well as society, both are important. For example, individual's motivation plus societal values. So motivation is important if you need to prepare for this exam, and at the same time, values of family, society, etc. is also important. Values alone will not make you to prepare for this exam. Motivation is also required, right? So both has to be there. That he will understand in terms of value orientation and motivational orientation. That's exactly what we are going to discuss now. So I'll just go through this introduction and then we will go to the theory of social action. So today we will discuss about the theory of social action. I've told you already when we discussed about Weber in the previous session, Parsons improved over Weber, right? So this is the question: what is Parsons' theory of social action and how he has improved over Weber? So I hope you know about the theory of Weber. According to Weber, what was social action? Social actions we have discussed, like, and we have given, so any action is social by virtue of the meanings attached by the actor to this action. And then we have discussed about some condition. There should be some meanings and there should be some orientation towards others. And based on this, based on the meanings, Weber gave 4 different types of action: I hope you remember that is traditional action, affective action, and then word rational action and Zweck rational action. Okay, so here we will see how Parsons changes the concept, how he defined social action. Is there any change in the definition? And when he considered the ideal type, is there any change in the conception of ideal type also? This is what you need to write. But one thing that for sure you know about Weber is talking only about micro. That means only talking from individual perspective. So if you see this question, how he improved Parson will also talk about macro aspect of social action, that means role of society also. That is the main point. I'm coming to that, okay? We will discuss about the theory in detail. But before that, let's go for the introduction. Parson, a prominent American sociologist, is sometimes known to have introduced functionalism in America. His approach favored development of grand theories in the form of master analytical framework. He dealt mainly with abstractions involved in social reality. In doing so, Parsons used a multidisciplinary approach. That means mixing of different approaches, multidisciplines, right? I have told you that. Along with the synthesis of micro and macro perspective. Parsons developed an integrated approach by combining basic assumptions of French positivism, German idealism, and British utilitarianism. So I hope we already know about positivism. We know about this concept also. Weber's idealism, Comte's, Durkheim, Spencer, all discussed about positivism. British utilitarianism, you don't know because it is not part of your sociology syllabus, so we didn't discuss that. But we discussed just before. According to him, each school is significant in understanding social reality, but rejects the exclusivism favored by these perspectives. So for example, the exclusivism favored by positivism is what? The internal meanings. Idealism is what? The pressure by the society. So he rejected the exclusivism and he integrated that also. Thus Parsons favored the formulation of universal law from positivism, subjectivity of the individual from idealism, and influence of values and motivation of individual, which was rejected by British utilitarianism. Okay, as the basic elements of his own integrated approach. Now we need to discuss about theory of social action. So first we will see that's about introduction. I hope you can write a very good introduction with that, and maybe 1 or 2 lines is what you need to write in your introduction. So when we discuss about theory of social action, first we need to define social action. So according to Parsons, any act, if it is consciously performed, is social action. So if you're doing an action and if you're doing it consciously, it is social action. Okay, so there's a very simple definition. Any action, if it is consciously performed, it is social action. Okay, but there are some conditions. Now when these conditions are coming, you will be able to differentiate between normal action and social action. First of all, it should occur in a social situation. Okay, social situation. What do you mean by this? Occur in a social situation means the member or the actor should be part of the society. Okay, it should be in such a kind of situation. It should be oriented towards attainment of some goal. You're doing an action, it should be oriented towards attainment of any goal. It means that motivation of the actor and his meaning is also important. You should have some meaning for the action. There should be a goal for the action. Thirdly, if you see, it should be regulated by norms and values of society. Fourthly, it should involve the investment of energy. Okay, so in this context, you see, read this: any act consciously performed as social action. Now read along with these conditions. Then, for example, if you're drinking water in your house, is that a social action? There is a goal, right? Because you are thirsty and you need to drink water. So no, and there is an investment of energy, but not a social situation. Okay, so that is not a social action. When you're attending this class or when I'm taking this class, it is in a social situation. This action that we are doing, it's in a social situation, and there is a common goal. Okay, there is a goal. You have a goal, I have also a goal, and these are common goals. and then it is followed by norms and values. Certain rules and restrictions are there here, okay, and there is an investment of energy also from the side of you and from the side of me. So this is a social action. So you take any action if it need to be social. In fact, any act consciously performed a social action, but that's a very simple definition. Any act consciously performed. So if it is consciously performed, it is social action. But it has to be seen in the light of these 4 points also. Some social situation, some goal should be there, norms and values, energy. So this is how he explains social action. Okay, now when he defines social action according to Parsons, here you are an actor. Okay, for example, you are an actor, and as an actor, as an individual, you are always goal seeking. For example, now what is your goal? You want to study sociology or you want to get IAS, right? This is your goal. So actor is always, having certain goal. So actor who is an individual who is always goal seeking. Now, if you're done with IAS, then you will look for something else and you will look for something else like that. It will be like that only, always goal seeking. So the goal is there always. And now this is your goal, for example. So the goal is there. Now, for achieving this goal, you have different means. Mean one, there will be mean two, opportunity, the choices. Mean three, like for example, you can attend the sociology class from this teacher or this teacher or this teacher, or so many teachers are available, right? MN, so many teachers, so many courses are available. So actor is always goal seeking, and to achieve the goal, the actor have so many choices are available. But you cannot go for all the teachers, and you didn't go for all the teachers. You select one, right? So you select one. Let's say you are selecting this, and the selection of this mean is actually related to two factors. One, your own motivation. Two, the values of society. Okay, and this is how you can explain. So here you can see actor now choose one mean which is based on his own motivation, that your mind says or you think that this teacher is the best, or here is where I can go for, or the society will tell, or your friends or peers will tell that this is what you need to go for. Okay, so in modern society, what do you think, which one will be more? In modern society, this will be more. Your own motivation, what you think, what you say is more. In traditional society, what is more? This will be more. What your family says, what your friends says, etc. is more. But there are some societies like India, which is traditional. There, both will be there. It could be like 50% what society will say, or your friends will say, or your seniors will say, and 50% what your mind says. If it is a modern society, it will be like 100% or 90% what? It will be your own motivation. 10% will be what society. And if it is a very traditional society, then 90% will be for values and 10% for individual or motivation. Now this percentage is not clear-cut distinction. I'm saying where the inclination will be more. In modern society, your own motivation. In traditional society, values. In societies which are in transition like Indian societies, it may be 50-50, or it may be 60-40, or it may be 40-60, right? So here there may be dilemma also. We will be discussing about this dilemma also. So I hope you understood what as an actor you will do. You just imagine your situation only. You are an actor. Any actor is always goal seeking. Now here, what is your goal? This is your goal. And to achieve this goal, you have so much of means are available. And you will decide one thing. You will take one mean to achieve your goal. And that selection of mean will be based on two aspects. One is your motivation, and the other is the values of society, what the society will tell, or what is the collectivity will tell you. Okay, so in traditional society, which one is more important for you? What the family will say, what the friends will say, etc. is more important. So you will go for that particular mean. Okay, in modern society, it is up to you to decide. It is your future. So in modern society, you will decide where to go, what to do, what not to do, etc. But some societies which are in transition, they will face dilemma, whether to go with value orientation of the society or your own motivation, whether to take this mean or any other mean. Okay, there is a dilemma in traditional societies which are in transition, and that dilemma is actually your next topic that I'll discuss tomorrow in terms of pattern variables. So we are not discussing that dilemma part now. Now I'm only talking about actor. You as an actor, you think in this way. You are always goal seeking. For that matter, any actor always goal seeking, and to achieve the goal, for example, if you want to become rich, it may be the goal. To achieve the goal, you have certain means, different means. You can go for engineering, you can go for doctor, you can go for anything, or you can go do a business, or you can go for some work, etc. So different means are possible, and you select the means based on your own motivation and the values of society. So I hope this is very clear to all of you. So this is how the action is working. So you can see here how he improved our Weber. Weber is only talking about what? This, your own motivation, your own meanings. Okay, but Parson is talking about values of society also. For example, you are selecting a particular mean which is also having the influence of the values of society according to Parson, but not for Weber. So here itself we can say how Parson modified over Weber. So I hope this is clear for all of you. Now let's go for this definition, and then I will explain what are the different types of action. So step by step we'll go so that things will be clear to you. This is how I normally proceed with Parson. Otherwise, generally I will explain the theory and then I'll discuss the PDF. So in case of Parson, I go with paragraph to paragraph, sentence by sentence. So it will be more clear to all of you. And once we complete the session, we can discuss. In between, we don't want to discuss anything now. Okay. So in his book, Structure of Social Action, Parson, after examining the earlier theorist, developed his own theory of social action. According to him, any act consciously performed a social action. He further mentioned certain conditions for any action to become social. First condition, it must occur in a social situation. That is clear, right? That is the member or the actor should be part of society. So this is actually the social aspect. Okay, so social aspect. Action is oriented towards attainment of a particular goal. It means that motivation of the actor or his meaning to the action is essential. So here, meanings, motivations. This is what Weber talking about, right? This is what Durkheim talking about. So micro, macro, society, individual. This is individual, this is society. This is macro, this is micro. And Parson, integration. So I hope you can connect it, right? So this is a motivational aspect. And then it is regulated by the norms and values of society. So that again, value aspect, that is also giving importance to society. And then it involves an investment of energy or effort from the part of the actor. That is the biological aspect. So Parson combined everything. You can see within the definition itself, within the condition itself, Parson incorporating everything. Parson here modifies Weber by defining action more comprehensively and thereby broadening the scope of social action. So I hope you can answer here. It can be asked as a long question and you can prepare accordingly. Okay. So what all things you have discussed is what you need to write there. Parson consider actor as an individual person who is always goal seeking and possess alternate means. Okay, so you are always goal seeking and possess alternate means, mean 1, mean 2, mean 3, mean 4 and mn, like that. And actors in this course takes voluntary actions. You take voluntary action, you think that you are taking voluntary action, but it is actually influenced by norms and values of society and also your own motivation. Okay, and this is the external aspect, that the societal aspect. This is the internal aspect, that is the individualist aspect, right? So both macro and micro. Okay, and this is what Parson terms as value orientation, and this is what motivational orientation. Value orientation and motivational orientation. So okay, so this is the diagram which you can write. For Parson, the actor is oriented towards either the norms and values of society, that is external, or his own motivation resulting from his own situation, that is internal. So both are there. Just one second. Okay, so both are there, internal as well as external. These orientation influence actors' decision with respect to the choice of means and goals in the performance of social action. So it is the motivational orientation and value orientation which decides which type of action you will do. You have to achieve the goal, and for that you need to do an action in terms of different means. So when you are performing the action, it will be based on your own motivation, that is a motivational orientation, and also the values of society, that is the value orientation. Thus Parsons mentioned two orientation in the performance of action. What are they? Motivational orientation and value orientation. So motivational orientation and value orientation. These are the two orientation that Parsons is discussing. Motivational orientation related to society. This is related to macro aspect, values of society. This related to individual, internal aspect, micro aspect, the motivations of the individual. Oh, sorry, opposite. I'm sorry. Motivation means this internal and value means external. Sorry. So motivational orientation, this is internal, individual, micro, right? Individuals, meanings, motivation, etc. Value, the values of society. So society, external, macro, etc. So you can talk about Durkheim here, and this is the approach of Weber. So he incorporated both approach. In fact, this is positivism. No, this is positivism, and motivation, this is non-positivism. Okay, so motivational orientation, in which actor takes into account his own personal needs, interest and plans. Here actor's own situation matters. It is the individualistic or micro aspect of social action. Further, motivational orientation is having three aspects, that is cognitive, cathetic and evaluative. Cognitive means it's about the observation based on your one's own needs. Okay, cathetic, it is the emotional and affective part. Evaluative, how best to use your energies to satisfy your needs. You will evaluate. So these are the three components which you can see in motivational orientation. Value orientation, it refers to the influence of standards of values and morality which is particular to a society. It is a result of pressure exerted by the collectivity on the individual. It further have three aspects: cognitive, appreciative and moral. Cognitive is the societal values which alters the observation here. Appreciative, societal values altering emotions. Moral value, what is the right thing to do. Okay, it is related to the morality, the values, ethics, etc. According to Parsons, these orientations exist in every action in different degrees. Thus, there can be various different combination of orientation resulting in three different types of action. So here Parsons is talking about three different types. Weber was talking about four different types. So this three is the ideal type. So ideal types of social action for Parsons is based on three types. So ideal type for Parsons is 3 action, Weber is 4 action. Now this 4 action that Weber discussed will be discussed in 3 action by Parsons. We will see how he is integrating that. Okay, but if you can recollect, what we have discussed now was actor is always goal seeking. For that he will do action, and when you do action, this action is based on value orientation and also motivational orientation. Okay, and this value and motivation will be seen in any action in varying degrees. That's what I've told you. In the traditional society you may see more of value, in modern society you may see more of your own motivation, and in societies like transition you may see a combination like 50-50, 60-40, 40-60, etc. For example, you are going for UPSC interview, okay, and you met with a person, you have seen in the road that a person met with an accident. Okay, so this is actually a question related to ethics, but we will discuss here also. You saw a person who met with an accident in the road. So what you will do here? Will you help that person or will you go for the interview? In case of traditional society, your role is defined. Your action will be based on what? So this is actor. Okay, so your action will be based on values of society. So you will definitely help that person in traditional society. But in modern society, it is based on your own motivation. So you will definitely go for the interview. Okay, And there is, you can justify in your paper, okay, in case if it is related to ethics question, that in the modern society where the where are different organizations are there to take care of this, the police is there, the health, other facilities are there, traffic, this things, ambulance and all these services will be there, so they will take care of these kinds of issue, and it is not your job. Okay, so in modern society you can say, in for example in societies like US, okay, for example in societies like US, developed countries, they don't want to care, it is not expected actually. There are various other mechanisms to do that. Okay, but in societies like India, the societies who are in transition, there will be a conflict, value conflict, you will see this. Okay, you will be in a dilemma, that's what you call as ethical dilemma, whether to go for the exam or to help this person. And based on that you may take your action. It may be 50-50. You think that 50 your mind say go with this, 50 your mind will say go with this. It can be 60-40, it can be 40-60, right? So this is what I mean by this different degrees, right? In case of traditional society, no problem. What you will do, you will help the person. In case of modern society, no problem. What you will do, you will go for the exam, because your role is defined very clearly. But in societies which are in transition, there may be problem. This is what value conflict, the ethical dilemma, moral dilemma that you will face. So these are the three different ideal types: instrumental action, expressive action, moral action. Okay, so instrumental action, it is an action in which evaluative component is more dominant. Actor take into consideration his own means and ends while performing social action. So where have you seen this before? Actor takes into account his own means and ends. When it comes to Weber, what action? Yeah, it is there. Zweck rational action of Weber, right? So instrumental action, it is based on your means, your goals and ends. So it is similar to Zweck rational action of Weber. Expressive action. So expressive action is the action. In this action, the cathetic and appreciative orientation are more concerned, and it involves emotional response of a person and is most visible in expression. It is similar to affective action of Weber. There also we have discussed about what? Emotional response. So here also expressive action is related to emotional response, that is similar to affective action of Weber. So instrumental action similar to Zweck rational, expressive action similar to affective action. So third one, moral action, will be similar to Wert rational. There it is related to morality, plus he will also add traditional action here. Okay. In this, the influence of morality or the values are dominant. It includes the influence of both beliefs and values. So beliefs means what? Traditional action, right? It was performed because of certain beliefs or tradition. It is similar to traditional and Wert rational action of Weber. Then what do you mean by ideal type? This line is very important. Actual action may be combination of these three types, and the pure form may or may not exist, because you cannot exactly predict to what degree the action, that different components are there. So actual action may be the combination of these three different ideal types. So these are the ideal types. So I repeat what I have discussed now. So what we have discussed is any act, if it is consciously performed. Now what you need to write in exam is what I am discussing. Okay, consciously performed is social action, but there are certain conditions. What are the conditions? It should be in social situation, and there should be a goal, there should be norms and values, and also investment of energy. So these are the four conditions need to be satisfied. And then what he discussed is actor is always goal seeking. To achieve the goal, he have different means, and the action that he do to achieve the goal will be based on value orientation. That means the norms, values, ethics, etc. of the society, and also individual's own motivational orientation. That is how you will take an action. So when you're doing an action, it will have two components. What are they? Value component, also motivational component. So it will vary in degree. Sometimes you will only look for your motivation. You will take a mean which will only satisfy your own motivation. Forget about the values of society, because it is not going to serve any purpose ultimately if you think rationally. Okay, so sometimes you do that, sometimes you will only look for the values or what the family will say or what the society will say. So in that context, rationality or the consciousness is actually very less in that action. Okay, so based on varying degrees. And if you see the instrumental action, what component is more dominant? Motivational component is more dominant. And if you see the moral action, the last one, value component is more dominant. Right? So these are the three different actions: instrumental action, expressive action, and also moral action. Instrumental action, it is related to means and ends. And according to Weber, if you discuss, so this is Parsons, Weber, if you discuss, this is similar to Zweck rational action. Rational action. Expressive action, it is similar to affective action of Weber. And what is this? Moral action will be similar to Wirth rational action and also traditional action of Weber. So these are the three ideal types of social action according to Parsons, and actual action may be combined with these actions to have a better understanding. For Weber, these are the four ideal types, and actual action may be combined with these four, okay, or compared with these four, so that you can understand the action. So here, three ideal types. So what all things we have discussed about Parsons is mainly, Parsons was an American sociologist. He introduced functionalism in America, and he integrated various perspectives like micro, macro, positivism, idealism, British utilitarianism, and he favored a multidisciplinary approach, integrated approach, and also proposed analytical concepts like analytical functionalism through master analytical framework, and supported grand theories. Okay, and he defined social action, and he modified over Weber by incorporating the value orientation also. Weber is only talking about motivational orientation or the internal aspect and the motivations of the individual. But Parsons modifies by incorporating the other dimension or the exclusivism which was favored by Weber, that is nothing but the value orientation. So actor is always goal seeking, he possesses alternate means, and he select one particular mean or he do a particular action to achieve the goal based on his own motivation and also the norms and values of society. Okay, and he discussed about value orientation, motivational orientation, and any action if you take, the degree of value orientation and motivational orientation may be different, and based on that degree of motivation and value, he talked about three different types of social action, and that's the ideal types of social action for Parsons. And what are the ideal types? Instrumental action, which is similar to Zweck rational action of Weber, expressive action, which is similar to affective action of Weber, and also the moral action, which is similar to Wirth rational, and also the traditional action according to Weber. And the actual action, if you need to understand, you have to compare it with these three ideal types. The pure form may or may not exist. Okay, so you know the concept of ideal type, we have discussed that, and we have discussed about example as Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, rational legal authority, and also social action. So exactly the same concept here. So that's about this theory of social action. Now tomorrow we will discuss about pattern variables. Not tomorrow, we will meet on Monday. 2 days I'm actually busy, so not tomorrow, we will discuss from Monday. Okay, I will update in the WhatsApp group also. Next class is from Monday. Any doubts? Yeah, we can discuss now. I have time.
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, in the moral action, as I said, it is a combination of traditional and word-based action. What I understand is that it is more traditional, right? Because here we are going with the morals and beliefs and values, not with the word-based. Word-based, as I said, it is like we are serving for the society. We are doing something for the society. So how it is how the morals and values are related to word-based?